Welcome back, everybody. A little bit of a different setup today. I am giving my predictions. I'm giving my predictions breakdown of UFC 329. I'm going to start from Whitaker Krylov just because I know these fighters a little bit more and I want to give quality predictions for you guys. I don't want to give you guys some cringe predictions where I just like kind of go off on a tangent of what I think might happen. But I don't get to see Garbrandt and Yanez fight as much. I don't get to see Luke Riley fight as much. So I'm looking a little bit different. I don't have my glasses on. I could probably throw them on. I probably won't. Here we go. Whitaker versus Krylov. To me, I look at this matchup as Whitaker really struggles with people with extreme durability. And that to me, or not extreme durability, I mean extreme physicality. I look at him against Rainer de Ritter. I look at him against Dricus du Plessis. I look at him even against Paulo Costa and Jared Cannonier. People with really, really tough durability that will put it on you, he seems to struggle with. Romero had a lot of success against him in their fight. And to me, I think Whitaker is small for middleweight. I think he is a little bit overrated, especially that time during middleweight, where that time in middleweight he was the Colby Covington. I think he's light years better, but I think he is the Colby Covington of that middleweight division because I sit here and I look at what Whitaker was supposed to be the next guy in line, and Dricus du Plessis mauled him. Dricus du Plessis mauled him. Rainer de Ritter mauled him. Hamzat Chimaev mauled him. He gets beat by people that are really physical and aren't afraid of him and march him down. Costa had success. Cannonier had success. He beat both of them. The Costa win has aged tremendously for him, but he's getting rocked by spinning wheel kicks. He gets rocked quite a bit at 185. I know he dropped Rainer de Ritter. I know he almost had Rainer de Ritter finished. But I feel like he also rocked Whitaker in that fight. I think Whitaker's a little bit chinny as well. And these are things that unfortunately are legitimately true. I don't dislike Whitaker, but I think this is a terrible matchup for him at a wrong weight class. I think if he was going to go to any weight class, he should go to 170. I don't think he's that big for 185, and that's where I think a lot of the people were able to bully him and maybe not out technique. Like du Plessis probably not out techniquing him, but he's so much smaller. Dricus is just picking him up and throwing him to the ground and taking him to the ground. So I think Krylov, this is his fight to win. Whitaker doesn't have KO power like a Dominic Reyes or a Bogdan the Hitman. I think his nickname's the Hitman. I don't even, I think it's like Duskalov. It's Bogdan something rather. He fought Jan Blachowicz, went to a draw. I know who he is. I don't know if I know how to say his name very well. I believe he knocked. Wait, did he knock Krylov out? Or am I thinking of Rakic? I feel like I get Rakic and Krylov so mixed up. Anyway, just ignore that I said that. Dominic Reyes has knocked out Krylov. And I don't believe Krylov is bad. I think with people with power and precision and he kind of blitzes forward and able to counter him, I think Whitaker can have success on the feet. I don't think he's going to knock Krylov out. I think Krylov's going to bully him up against the cage, bully him, go out there, kind of Justin Gaethje, Patty Pimblett it, just put him on that back foot and make him work. And I think I could see a third round finish, most likely a decision, but I'm going to go third round finish for Krylov, starting off the prelims. Now going on up the main card, we have Bobby Green versus Terrence McKinney. What a banger. When I originally did my predictions, I predicted McKinney would knock Green out. Now I've matured a little bit, a couple of days. I'm going Bobby Green. I think Bobby Green is slick, or King Green, whatever. I'm going to call him Bobby Green just because that's what I know him as. So Green, I'll just call him Green. Keep it respectful. So I'll call him Green. Green is very slick on the feet. He is very good. He beats a lot of really good opponents on the feet. He's not a slouch. McKinney is a guy where if he comes out and he comes out hot and he puts it on Green, he can knock Green out 110%, no doubt in my mind. My thing is, I think Green is more experienced. I think he will overcome the early onslaught of McKinney. And I think once McKinney's early onslaught's over with, I don't believe he's going to be able to take Bobby Green to the ground. I think Bobby Green will end up piecing him up and probably win a second or third round finish. I think I could see McKinney gassing. McKinney starting to huff and puff. He's starting to overswing like he did against Dober. And then we see the finish come to play for Bobby Green's second round. Moving on over. Loner Kavanaugh, or Loney, however you say his name, Kavanaugh versus Brandon Royval. I am going to go Kavanaugh here in this matchup. I think Kavanaugh is really good. What he did to Brandon Moreno on short notice, completely pieced him up, shut him down, almost finished him. I think because that was a 5-rounder that he's never really been in, and because he was in Mexico City, where it was a short notice matchup for him, I think he can finish Royval. I think Royval, we all know Royval needs to kind of get Kavanaugh to the ground or get him up against the clinch, take the wind out of the sails. He can definitely, if he dogs it out, he can get in there and definitely knock Kavanaugh out. We've seen Kavanaugh go out before, but he just looks so slick against Brandon Moreno. I just expect him to be just as slick against Royval, and I think he's young. I think he's going to get better. Royval coming off the Brandon Moreno loss, or the Joshua Van loss, coming off of the Manel Cap knockout loss. I think this is a bad matchup for him, and I believe Kavanaugh is going to know that he's going to try to shoot and try to take him down. And I think on the feet, Kavanaugh is light years better. Royval leaves openings. The way he has his stance, he kind of just eats punches. And I think Kavanaugh will light him up with the jab, light him up with the right hand, set him up with different strikes, and just piece him up. I could see him finishing him in the third round, but I am going to go. I will ultimately just stick with him winning by decision. Moving on up the card, we have, sorry about that there, we have Sandhagen versus Mario Batista. Mario Batista, I think, is entering his prime. I think he's at the peak of his abilities right now. I think we've seen the best of Sandhagen. I do like Sandhagen, and when I do these are all based off picks. I'm not because I dislike them or I don't. I mean, the Pimlet, I don't like Pimlet as much as I like other fighters, but I do think Batista will beat Sandhagen. I lost my train of thought. I think Sandhagen, he's kind of plateaued in the striking a little bit. He used to be super slick with the flying knees, the spinning attacks. He used to go out there and he was beating up, TJ Dillashaw and kind of got robbed. Sandhagen's very good, but he lacks the pop on the feet. And this is a fight where I look at Merab is rocking you in the boxing, catching you on the chin. I do think, and just to kind of cut through here, and I'll weave it back together, I do think Trevor Whitman is one of the best coaches in the game, 110%. So I wouldn't be shocked if they come out there and they beat Batista. But I think Batista's just as good as he is on the feet. He's gotten even better on the ground. He fought Vinicius Oliveira in his last fight, I believe. Completely mauled him, absolutely destroyed him. I think choked him out in the second round, embarrassed him. It was a brutal performance. He went up to 145 and he just won his fight against Andre Fili. So I definitely do think Batista is the real deal, and I think he's getting better. He beat Jose Aldo by a boring decision, but then he fights Patchy Mix and destroys Patchy Mix, and then he fights Umar and he drops Umar with a knee, and was having good grappling exchanges where I feel Umar was holding Sandhagen to the ground a little bit more in their fight. I'm leaning more towards Batista. Like I said, I think he is just getting he's getting, he's entering his prime or entering the peak. And I think we're seeing Sanhagen kind of dip off a little bit. I think one of his best performances was against Cheeto Oliveira. And that was kind of, a good performance. And then you look at what O'Malley's done to him. And then you look at what others done to him. They did way more damage. Sanhagen's a volume striker. I wouldn't be shocked if he tries to mix up the elbows, maybe cut Batista open. But I think Mario Batista is just he Corey could go 30 to 15, like 30 to 15 of Batista, but I think Batista's 15 is going to be harder. And I think he'll be able to match the grappling. I know Sanhagen's beat him before, but I think the momentum of Batista's is right there, is just surging right now because Sanhagen, you've already lost to Peter Yan. You lost to Peter Yan pretty convincingly, at least in that third, fourth, and fifth round. The first two were clearly yours, but one of my favorite fights, by the way. Sanhagen Peter Yan is one of the best mixed martial arts that isn't just a complete slobber knocker. It is so fun to watch the technique that they use. Sanhagen, both of these guys are really good. I'm just going to go Batista by an edge. I think Batista will win. Probably a split decision, 29-28. Moving on up the card, Paddy Pimblett versus none other than Benoit Saint Denis here. I'm really trying to adjust my seating slot here because this one I really have stuff to say. I went back and rewatched that Pimblett fight. I feel Pimblett looked even worse than I remembered against Justin Gaethje. Gaethje put him on the back foot, was landing at will. The eye poke shenanigans and the eye pokes affected the fight, I think, is total BS. It's different if it was from Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, where it was close. Gane was better of the exchanges, and then he poked Aspinall's eye. Gaethje already walked Pimblett down, put Pimblett on his back, literally dropped Pimblett already, and then he poked him in the eye, which was a disadvantage for Justin Gaethje, in my opinion, because if he didn't poke him in the eye and he just pushed on and kept pushing and really trying to beat Pimblett up, he would have beat Pimblett, or he could have finished Pimblett, rather. Pimlett's out in the open with the kicks. That is the biggest takeaway from that fight. His kicks are actually really good. His calf kick, his body kicks are really good. His boxing defense, his boxing offense, his offensive wrestling are all terrible. All terrible. And I hear the comparison from Dricus du Plessis and Pimblett. Dricus du Plessis is actually a decent striker. He's outstruck Sean Strickland. The only person I think Paddy Pimblett really has the claim to fame of outstriking is Michael Chandler, which Huffy just finished him in a round. Gaethje completely destroyed him when they fought. So it's like people been there, done that, and you kind of did it a little bit unimpressively. Especially because he really wasn't even getting Chandler to the ground. Chandler was picking him up and getting him to the ground. And that's the thing about Pimblett is Pimblett's almost better off of his back than he is going offensively takedowns because Justin Gaethje is dropping, defending the takedowns, and stifling him. And I know, well, Gaethje beat Topuria. It's not a bad loss for Pimblett. I think Pimblett looked way worse than Topuria did. Topuria almost finished him. Topuria was marching forward. Pimblett was on the back foot 95% of that fight. He won one round. One judge gave him 2 rounds. The other two had it 4-1 Gaethje. So people are saying he's won 3-2, that it was a lot closer than they thought it was. And I'm telling you, Pimblett was not landing the shots you think he was landing. He was close, but he wasn't landing it. He wasn't landing really good on Gaethje. And I thought he was. I went back and rewatched it, and I remember, Pimblett was rocking him on the feet. If Pimblett's rocking him on the feet, Gaethje's knocking him out, or Topuria is knocking Gaethje out. But I went back. He dips his head so low, which is such a weakness, and it's such a spot where people should knock him out in. But unless you're like a Max Holloway, you kind of just get away with it. He kind of just can get away with he gets away with dipping, and he was getting just out of the way of Pimblett shots where Pimblett really wasn't landing clean. Pimlet had good fiery exchanges that kind of stunned Gaethje, but didn't have him wobble, didn't have him rocked. He would like stun where it was like a big combination and Gaethje's moving, and the way he moves, it looks like he's hurt and it looks like he's rocked, but he is not. So I look at this matchup. I think Saint Denis' game plan is he's going to come out. He's going to try to put Pimlet against the fence. He's going to throw big meaty hooks, throw big left overhands, and he's going to try to just put Pimlet up, and he's going to try to take Pimlet to the ground. And I think he will, and I think Saint Denis will win this fight. Now, I want to preface this 100%. To me, this is these two best opponents that they could get. I think Charles Oliveira mops the floor with both of them. I think Sarukian mops the floor with them. I think Taporia mops the floor with both of them. But I do think Pimlet would actually give him a tough fight because Pimlet's kicks are actually really good, really powerful. And he is big and he's long. That could give Taporia issues. Saint Denis as well is not really good defensively. I would say he is a little bit sharper, has a little bit more power, has a little bit better finishing ability on the feet than Pimlet, but he's not out striking anybody. Like I'm now thinking about it, like the fact he outstruck Mauricio Huffy is crazy. That win has aged tremendous for him, but it's because Saint Denis will just grit down. He'll throw his body kick. He'll get it in there, and he gets dirty, you know. And what I mean by dirty is he pushes you up against the cage, tires you out, then takes you down. The only thing I can see is I do think Pimlet could submit Saint Denis. Saint Denis is not unbeatable by any means. We saw Dustin Poirier knock him out and finish him. We saw Moicano just absolutely destroy him. If I'm going to sit here, I look at Pimlet. I don't think he beats. We obviously know he doesn't beat Gaethje because Gaethje beat him. I think in a rematch he wouldn't do much better. Maybe if he implemented the grappling, but unless he makes serious improvements on his grappling or as his takedown offense, because I mean Bobby Green took Pimlet to the ground and then Pimlet choked him out. He rocked Chandler on the feet and then was able to go finish Chandler on the ground because he rocked him on the feet and then got him to the ground. He was. I don't think he was getting Chandler to the ground. Chandler was getting him to the ground, and then he got in his guard. So that is the factors. Pimlet is almost you really can't take him down. I mean, Jordan Levitt was taking him down. People can take Pimlet down. He doesn't have iron defense. But is Saint Denis good enough on the ground to not get submitted? I think I mean, Dustin Poirier couldn't submit him, but Dustin Poirier don't really get submissions like that. I do think Saint Denis will win. I think Saint Denis is going to cut Pimlet open, try to hurt Pimlet, try to get Pimlet scrappy, try to get Pimlet. He's going to try to cut him open, hurt him. I think when he gets to the ground, he's going to work ground and pound. I think that's the way he finishes them by like a nasty cut and they stop it. Other than that, I think Saint Denis will just kind of beat him up. I think he's a slightly better on the feet. I think he will crack the chin of Pimlet like really early. I think This is going to be a sloppy fight. I want that to be known. I don't think this is going to be a super clean fight. I think this is going to be pretty sloppy. But as I was saying, I look in this division. I think Justin beats both of them. Taporia beats both of them. I think Pimlet's a little bit tougher of a matchup for Taporia. I think Sarukian beats both of them. I think Benoit maybe could give a little bit of trouble. Maybe. Not a ton. Like I could see him, being a little bit trickier. I think if someone can match Sarukian's grappling, it's a little bit interesting. I think Oliveira would smoke him. I think Holloway. Now it's crazy to say this because Holloway could lose to Paddy Pimlet. Paddy Pimlet could take Holloway down. I don't think he will because I don't think he has the threat on the feet that Oliveira has, which we'll get to here very shortly. So my cold-hearted prediction is I got Saint Denis winning by third round decision, or I don't know why I said third round decision. I think he's gonna win decision. I think he's gonna beat Pimlet up, get Pimlet to the back of the cage. I don't see Pimlet knocking him out. I don't see Saint Denis not gonna knock Pimlet out. At least not in the traditional sense. I think both of them could finish each other on the ground. I think Saint Denis will, slightly be better on the feet enough to give him the edge and give him the victory. And that would be my take on that. Moving on up the card, and I'll go ahead and I'll circle everybody here just so you guys can see who I got winning each fight. Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. The Mac is back, baby. I couldn't be more excited because McGregor hasn't fought since 2021. In 2021, I was a ninth grader heading into 10th grade. Now I have been graduated for 2 years now. That's how long McGregor's been out for. I'm a huge McGregor fan. But I do think there's avenues here. And when I say this, people aren't going to like it because I know people are major Holloway lovers. I love Holloway as much as the next guy. But honest breakdown here, McGregor's got a chance to knock him out in the first two. He does. I'm going to give you how McGregor wins, and I'm going to tell you why I see McGregor winning this fight. I do think Holloway will most likely win it, but I am just going to pick the underdog pick of McGregor. Hopefully, I get one underdog pick correct this year. But McGregor's coming in here at 170. He's coming in at 170. He's going to be big. He's going to be cutting weight. Holloway is not a 170 pounder. He's a 155er, and he's been dropped in the last couple of his fights. He didn't get dropped against Oliveira, but he got dropped against Gaethje. He got dropped against Topuria. He got knocked out by Topuria. I know people want to sit there, and again, I know I am just sitting here glazing Topuria the whole time. I know people do think that there was a weight cut disadvantage. I think that's total BS. I think it was a matter of time that somebody caught Holloway on the chin and put him out. He's very hittable. That's one thing. He's very hittable. His lack of defensive skills. He's there to be hit. And even Gaethje beat up, was able to find the headlock, throw a right hook, and drop Holloway. Was able to drop Holloway. Dustin Poirier in the second fight was able to drop Holloway. McGregor, I do think, still carries his power. I think if he shows up 15% as good as he did against Dustin Poirier in the second fight, I think he could beat it. I think he could beat Holloway. I think he could beat Woods Holloway. Another thing is, everybody is coming into this fight saying Holloway's going to knock McGregor out in one. Holloway will not knock McGregor out in one. If he does finish him, I do think he can. It's going to be second, third, fourth, fifth round. Holloway has not gotten a first round knockout, and this needs to be addressed because I'm hearing everybody say he's gonna knock out Charles Oliveira in round one. He's gonna knock McGregor. Just because he dropped Poirier in their third fight, a slower, older Poirier, still good, not taking away anything away from it, still good, but an older version. If you legitimately think because he dropped Poirier, he's going to finish McGregor in the first round, I think you're delusional. He can. Maybe I say that in this age is like absolute garbage. He is not a first round finisher. He doesn't knock people out in the first round. He doesn't. His last first round finish was 2014. He knocked somebody out in 2014. He knocked out, and this was a while ago because it was like a no name guy. So this was really a long time ago before he was even champ. He got a first round finish. He doesn't knock people out in the first round. It's not his MO. It's not his game. He doesn't, it's not his style there. He doesn't knock people out, and he's gonna knock out Oliveira. And to be honest with you, I went and saw a clip this morning, 30-second clip. Oliveira is a big dude from 155, and he walked Holloway down and didn't respect the power of Holloway because Holloway has a speed advantage. He has a speed advantage. That's why he's dropping Poirier out in space because he has the speed advantage and he comes in and he's going to be faster than you because he comes from 145. It's a lighter man skill advantage as well. Oliveira just YOLO'd him, walked him right down. Teeps was throwing with him, didn't respect the power of Holloway, and mauled him for 5 rounds. Mauled him for 5 rounds. We just watched that happen. McGregor can knock Holloway out. Topuria at 145, and look at the damage. He's had 8 fights since McGregor fought. McGregor fought July of 2021. 2021. 2021, he fought Calvin Cater, but after that, he fought Yair. He fought Volk in the trilogy, where he took a ton of damage in both of those fights. Came back, had a good scrap with Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen landed some good shots on him. It was very competitive. Then from the Arnold Allen fight, that was 2023, he fought Korean Zombie. Korean Zombie was landing bombs on him and had him wide eyed and stumbling around a little bit. Then he fought Justin Gaethje, which we know was a war, so there's five. Then he fought Poirier, which is six. Poirier knocked him out, finished him. Then he fought Poirier. Poirier dropped him and hurt him. Then he's had 8 fights in the time since McGregor's been absent, and I do think that that adds up. I do think that's add up. This is going to be his ninth fight in over 5 years. 9 fights. That is crazy level activity, especially when you took the damage that you took in that Volk fight. He took damage in the Volk fight. Volk destroyed him, had him split open, completely outclassed him, and that was because Volk could match the speed. I think at 170, McGregor will be more powerful, and if he comes out and just tries to walk Holloway down, doesn't respect Holloway's power, and he goes all at it, and he lands, and he can find the finish, he can knock McGregor out, or he can knock Holloway out. He can. Oliveira marched him right down because Oliveira's a big guy. Oliveira could fight at 170. He's a big dude. He had a bigger physicality advantage and was able to get right in there and trot him down. This is at 170. I don't think Holloway will be as fast as he is at 155. I think his speed will be a little bit decreased. I think he might have a little bit more pop, but a little bit less speed. McGregor's pretty fast at 170 still, and he's got pop, and he's coming into this, built into this physique. I just, I, I think he gets it done, man. I think McGregor will knock Holloway out. I don't think Holloway's unknockable. I think it's been proven at this point that he can be knocked out and he can be finished. He can. It can happen. And that is why I believe McGregor will finish him within the first 2 rounds. Now, with that being said, I do think Holloway most likely will win this fight. But, again, he doesn't knock people out in the first round. He's always has a major speed advantage. But he's a death by 1,000 cuts. He knocked out Korean Zombie, who was very chinny at the time. His chin has gone away with all the wars. Volk TKO'd him in the 4th round. He's been finished, and that was his retirement fight. He just threw his hands down by his waist and went for it and got knocked out. Then he fought Justin Gaethje. If Justin Gaethje didn't point and they didn't go in the war and they didn't have that amazing moment where they point down to the ground and they go for it, he's not knocking Gaethje out. He hurt Gaethje. Decision. He goes out there, fights Poirier, or fights Poirier. Poirier's leaning clean right hands on him, clean shots. Leaning clean shots, but he was weight drained. But Poirier's skill set, he was landing clean shots on Holloway from the beginning of the fight. Rocked him with a left hook in like the 2nd round. Now you're getting rocked up at 145 and you're getting rocked up at 155. You're fighting a guy that is kind of built into the 170 frame now. He is, even if he's not as slick as he was in his prime, is a little bit slick. I think McGregor is a top 3 striker of all time. The finding the outside foot position, the pullback counters, the setting things up, the fluidity in his prime at least. Even if we get a little bit slower, but he comes out and he marches Holloway down and he's looking to land and he cracks Holloway and rocks him and has Holloway on skates. I think he could finish him. I think he could. I think if I was McGregor's game plan, I'm thinking we attack that body and we just kind of attack that body for the 1st round. 2nd round, we come out, we start finding our shots upstairs and we put Holloway out. Holloway can be put out. And McGregor has confidence because he's beaten Holloway before. And another thing is he does have confidence that he's coming in here fresh. He hasn't been in any fights, which is a little bit of a disadvantage for him, but it's also a disadvantage for Holloway that he is coming in here beaten up. Oliveira was landing clean right hands on him, and Oliveira is not as fast as Holloway, but he had a nice tight guard, walked straight in the line, block, 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 let me throw, put Holloway on the defense. He put Holloway on the defense. He was getting takedowns. As soon as you get Holloway not moving and you get him stationary, you can land because he doesn't have elite level defensive ability. And that Calvin Cater win hasn't aged particularly well. And how close he went with Yair hasn't particularly aged extremely well either. I wouldn't be shocked if McGregor does go out there and he finds the shots and he puts Holloway out. He very well could, especially what we just seen with. We just saw Alberg knock out Yuri on one leg, which was crazy to knock out Yuri in general in the first, but knock him out on one leg. Not a big Alberg fan. Very disappointed in that fight. But that is a crazy performance. Underdog kind of, I think a lot of people had Yuri. A couple people I know had Alberg and it was a pick 'em, but then you go from that and then you go from Strickland winning to Gaethje winning. There's a vibe of underdogs, and it wouldn't shock me if McGregor was able to land clean. He's gonna land clean. And is Holloway gonna take it at 170? Because McGregor's still kind of slick. McGregor was still firing that left hand, landing it on Dustin Poirier, stunning Poirier. Which I don't think that's a he lost to in prime Poirier. That's not huge. This isn't an in prime Holloway anymore. I think Holloway from Cater to probably the Topuria fight was his prime because he looked elite against Justin Gaethje, and then but when Dustin landed, Dustin dropped him and hurt him bad, and then jumped to Gilly. If he didn't jump to Gilly, would he been able to finish him? That's the question here. Like Holloway's gonna get hit. Is he gonna be able to withstand McGregor, especially if he's like throwing out little jabs? McGregor slips back, plants the whoa, and then we see Holloway kind of go jelly leg. Oh, and then McGregor's on him, and McGregor's throwing uppercuts, and he's getting crazy in the pocket. Then he just happens to throw that iron chin. This is an uphill battle for McGregor, though. McGregor's opportunities in that first 2 rounds. He's got to beat him, or he's got to get up early. He's got to really put it on him, maybe get a 10-8, got to do enough damage. I think if he drops Holloway, it's over. I think he beats Holloway from there. But, Holloway's good. They do come in with a great game plan. Holloway's very slick. He's a good mover. He does get hit, but he does move well, and that's what causes him where guys can hit him, but then he can move and circle out of the way and kick and do his thing. I just I just think McGregor can, if he just blitzkriegs him and takes him out, it's possible. It is legitimately possible. Especially when you look at what Oliveira did. Watching that 30 seconds, like Oliveira literally just walked him down. And McGregor's like, I'm gonna walk you down at this weight class. I'm gonna put my hands up. I'm gonna walk across that octagon. I'm gonna put you on your back foot. And he put Holloway's not slick on the back foot. Holloway's is a pressure fighter forward. You put him on the back foot. Poirier was able to put him on the back foot a little bit. He even kind of gassed a little bit because of the sheer volume he threw in the Poirier fight. So he like was going for the finish, got rocked, hurt. He was kind of sucking wind, looking tired. If you go back and you watch it, he looked a little tired. Now you putting on a little bit more weight. Just because Holloway's got a good gas tank for the 145 and had a good decent gas tank for 155, it's not like he's throwing elite level volume. He's throwing a good amount of volume, maybe 300 strikes, but wasn't a crazy pace against Justin Gaethje. He was very patient. So I think if Holloway's gonna win, he will maybe get a finish. But I wouldn't be shocked if McGregor came out super aggressive and is looking for that left hand, looking for those shots. He's saying everything right in this build up, which you like to see as well.